You are 7 years old and you are sleeping inside the corpse of a ship. Not a bed, not a room, the hollow, rotting hull of an abandoned warship beached in the mud of the Medway, where the cold river wind cuts through the gaps in the timber like knives. Your stomach is empty. It is almost always empty. Outside, your father whispers prayers to a God that the men with crucifixes want to silence forever. You are the eldest of 12 children. You own nothing. You are nothing. A poor farmer's son from a forgotten corner of England. And yet, one day, you will sleep inside a different ship. A ship whose belly holds 30 tons of silver and half a ton of gold. A ship that will make you richer than your own queen. They will call you the most feared man alive, El Draque, the dragon. But let us begin at the beginning. You are born in Tavistock, in the green and rain-soaked hills of Devon, around the time the world still believed the oceans ended in monsters. There is no marble cradle waiting for you. There is no gold-dusted christening, no priests announcing your destiny in clouds of incense. There is straw. There is the smell of wet earth and animal dung and wood smoke. Your father, Edmund, is a humble man who works the land and preaches the new faith, the Protestant faith, in a country still soaked in the blood of religious war. This is your first inheritance, not gold, but fear. You learn to be afraid before you learn to read, because the men in power, the Catholic faithful, want your father's God erased from the earth. When you are still a small boy, a great rebellion sweeps the West Country, and the mobs come hunting families like yours. Your father gathers his 12 children and runs. You flee your home in the dead of night, carrying nothing, leaving everything. You become a refugee in your own land. Understand this moment. Hold it, because everything you will ever do, every Spanish galleon you will set ablaze, every crucifix you will throw into the sea, every fortune you will tear from the hands of kings, begins here, in this flight, in this empty stomach, in this child's hatred that will never, ever cool. Your family washes up on the River Medway, near the royal dockyards of Chatham. And here, in the mud and the salt and the endless grey water, you see them for the first time. Ships, great wooden beasts with masts like cathedral spires. Other boys see floating wood. You see something else. You see escape. You see power. You see a road out of poverty paved across the water, and you swear in your child's heart that you will walk it. You learn your first lesson about wealth early, and you learn it hard. Wealth is not given, not to a boy like you. It is not waiting in a will, not promised by blood, not handed down by a noble name. Men born above you will sneer at you your whole life for having no family crest, no lineage, no claim. So you make a decision that will define everything. If the world will not give you a fortune, you will go out onto the ocean and take one. At 12 years old, the age a modern child enters the 7th grade, you are sent to work as an apprentice on a small trading vessel that crawls along the rough English coast. The old captain who owns it has no son. He watches this fierce, restless boy haul rope until his hands bleed, and something in him softens. When the old man's final breath comes, he leaves the entire ship to you. Your first fortune, your first deck beneath your feet. You are barely 20 years old, and already you own the sea beneath you. But a coastal trading ship is a pond, and you were built for oceans, for empires, for gold beyond imagining. You just don't know yet how much blood the water will cost you.
Here is the truth no one will say to your face. The world does not believe you belong. You have no coat of arms, no noble blood runs in your veins. To the perfumed lords of the English court, men in their stiff white ruffs, so heavily starched they cannot turn their own necks, you are a jumped-up farmer's boy who smells of tar and salt. They will smile at you, and behind your back they will call you a common pirate, low-born, beneath them. So you understand very young that you do not have a throne to defend. You have something harder. You have to prove again and again to a kingdom that despises your blood that you deserve every ounce of gold you will ever touch. That is your war. And you fight it on 3 fronts at once. The first front is the world's greatest empire, Spain. You meet it when you are about 28 years old in a foul harbor called San Juan de Ulua on the coast of Mexico. You have sailed there with your cousin and mentor, John Hawkins, and a small English fleet. You are short on supplies, battered by storms, and the Spanish offer you a truce, safe harbor, repairs, the word of the Spanish viceroy himself, Don Martin Enriquez, sworn before God. You trust them. That is your mistake. You will never make it again. Because at dawn, the betrayal comes. Spanish soldiers pour from hidden ships. Cannon fire tears your fleet apart. The water turns to fire and splintered wood and drowning men, your friends, your countrymen, screaming as the harbor swallows them. Of the proud English fleet, almost nothing escapes. You command one small ship, the Judith, and you run for your life through the smoke, watching England's men burn behind you. You limp home across the Atlantic with a skeleton crew, half-starved, chewing on rats. And something inside you hardens into iron. You will hate Spain now until your final breath, not as a strategy, as a religion. The Catholic empire that murdered your faith as a child has now betrayed you on the open sea, and you swear with everything you are that you will make them pay in gold, mountains of it. You will not just rob Spain, you will bleed it.
So you go hunting. At around 32 years old, you cross the ocean again, this time not to trade, but to take. You strike at the very artery of the Spanish Empire, the Isthmus of Panama, where the silver of the New World is carried by mule train to be shipped back to the king. You and a handful of men ambush the silver train in the jungle. You seize so much silver and gold that you cannot carry it all. You bury what you cannot lift. And then, from a high tree on the spine of the continent, you see it. The Pacific Ocean, glittering, vast, forbidden. No Englishman has ever sailed it. It belongs entirely to Spain. You fall to your knees and you pray, not for forgiveness, but for permission. You beg God to let you live long enough to sail an English ship upon that sea. You return home rich. You return home famous. The farmer's boy is now a name on every dock in England. Stop. Consider what your stolen silver could buy. A common English laborer of your age earns roughly 4 pennies a day. He will work for 40 years and never hold a single gold coin in his hand. You, in one jungle ambush, seize enough treasure to pay that man's wages for 2,000 lifetimes. One man, one raid, 2,000 lifetimes of human labor. This is when the most powerful woman in the world begins to watch you. You are summoned in secret to the Queen, Elizabeth herself. She cannot be seen to fund piracy. If Spain learns of it, it means war. So she looks you in the eye, this Protestant queen, and she says quietly, "I would gladly be revenged on the King of Spain for the many wrongs he has done me." She places 1,000 crowns of gold into your commission and gives you command of an expedition to sail into that forbidden Pacific. The official purpose is exploration. The true purpose is robbery. You feel the weight of it settle on your shoulders. Infinite riches, royal favor, the chance to become eternal, and beneath it, a cold certainty. If you fail, the queen will deny she ever knew your name, and you will swing as a common pirate. There is no safety net. There is only gold or the rope.
And here, near the bottom of the world, in a frozen and God-forsaken bay, you make the decision that reveals exactly what kind of man you have become. Among your captains is Thomas Doughty, your friend, a clever, well-born gentleman who has shared your wine and your laughter for years. But on the long voyage, you grow certain he is whispering against you, stirring mutiny, undermining your command, perhaps even dabbling in dark arts to curse the fleet. You convene a trial on a barren beach. You act as accuser, as judge, as jury, and you condemn him. But here is the detail that will haunt you. On his final morning, you do not cast him aside like a stranger. You sit him at your own table. You share bread. You pour him wine. You take communion together, and you embrace him like the brother he once was. You weep. And then you rise, you give the order, and the blade does its work upon the sand. You have just shown the world your one unbreakable law. Nothing, not friendship, not love, not your own grief, will ever stand between you and command. The threats are silenced now. The court is watching. The queen has blessed you. You are ready to write your name across the entire world. You set sail with 5 ships and roughly 164 men, and not one of them truly understands what you intend to do, because what you intend has never been done by an Englishman in all of history. You are going to sail around the entire world and rob the Spanish Empire blind along the way. Understand the madness of this. You have no reliable maps. The charts you carry show coastlines that simply stop, dissolving into blank parchment where someone has drawn sea monsters and written, "Here be dragons." Your only instruments are a brass astrolabe and a wooden quadrant. You navigate by the sun and the stars and raw nerve. In modern terms, you are attempting to fly to Mars using nothing but a paper map and a compass. If you are wrong by a few degrees, the ocean swallows you, and no one ever learns your fate. And the ocean tries. God, how it tries. You round the bottom of the world through the Strait of Magellan, where the wind shrieks like the damned and the cold freezes the rigging solid. Storms scatter your fleet. One ship turns back, others are lost. The sea takes your men one by one, to sickness, to scurvy that rots their gums and blackens their skin, to the freezing water. You started with 164 souls. You will come home with 59. Sailing with you means a 2 in 3 chance you will never see England again. But you press on in a single small ship, your Golden Hind. Burn this image into your mind. She is barely 100 feet long, the length of 2 London city buses parked nose to tail. In that, a wooden splinter on an endless ocean, you are about to seize a fortune that will shake the thrones of Europe. And then you find her. The great Spanish treasure galleon, Nuestra Señora de la Concepción, so fat with silver that her own crew have nicknamed her the Cacafuego. You hunt her up the Pacific coast for weeks. When you finally close in and your cannon roar, her captain is dumbfounded. He doesn't even know there is a war. No Englishman is supposed to be in this ocean. It is impossible. You are a ghost. You are El Draque, the dragon, risen out of nightmare.
And when the Spanish captain's young son watches you board, stunned, he says the line that history will never forget. He looks at your vessel and says, "Captain, your ship should be called the Cacafuego, and ours the Golden Hind." And you laugh. You throw your head back and laugh, and you keep the boy and his father at your own table as honored guests for days, feasting them before you set them free. What you pull from that single ship's belly takes days to catalogue, and by the time your whole voyage is done, you are carrying a hoard that defies belief. You are carrying roughly 30 tons of silver, half a ton of gold, chests upon chests of pearls and emeralds and jewels. In the money of your day, your treasure is worth around £600,000. In today's money, somewhere between $5 and $8 billion. Think of yourself, the farmer's boy from Devon, as a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk, except your fortune sits in the hold of a warship and your queen has personally licensed you to plunder. Now, let me show you the life you live in the middle of all this. Because below decks, your common sailors sleep crammed on wet wood, coughing, sharing their black bread with rats, chewing biscuits so full of weevils it moves. But a few feet away, behind a solid oak door, you live like a king on dry land. Every evening, as the ship pitches through violent seas, you dine to music. You carry your own private orchestra, French musicians who play violins and viols while you eat. You refuse wood. You refuse pewter. Your meals are served on dishes and goblets of pure gilded silver, much of it torn from Spanish galleons. Even your salt cellars and the handles of your knives are studded with small gemstones. A single one of your dinner plates is worth more than one of your sailors will earn in his entire life.
You see velvet and gold. You wear short doublets of cut black velvet lined with red silk, fastened with buttons of solid gold, sewn through with threads of real gold that catch the light of the whale oil lamps and shimmer, even in the burning Caribbean sun, even in the freezing strait. You smell perfume and tar and salt all at once. You feel fine linen against your skin, while men outside feel only frost. And you hear, beneath the violins, the constant groan of timber and the distant misery of the lower deck, the sound of the price other men pay for your gold. The Spanish ambassador himself will write home trembling with outrage that you sit upon a carved wooden chair like a throne, that you demand to be addressed as Your Excellency, and that you keep your head covered while every other man must remove his hat in your presence. A commoner's son playing emperor on the open sea. You return to England after nearly 3 years away, the first captain in history to lead a voyage all the way around the globe and live. And here comes the highest moment of your entire life. Your queen comes down to the river at Deptford to board your little Golden Hind with her own feet. The treasure you have brought home is so vast that Elizabeth's personal share is greater than the entire annual income of the English crown. She uses your stolen gold to pay off the whole of England's national debt and still has a fortune left over. An empire's debt erased by one farmer's son and one small ship. And there, on your own deck, before the court that once sneered at your low blood, the Queen takes a gilded sword. She does not hand it to an English lord to dub you. She gives it to a French diplomat, binding France to the act as a message to Spain. The blade touches your shoulder. Arise, Sir Francis Drake. The boy who slept in the rotting hull of a beached ship now kneels on a deck of gold and rises a knight.
You are made mayor of Plymouth. You buy a vast medieval abbey, Buckland Abbey, and turn it into a palace. The queen hangs a jewel of solid gold and topaz around your neck, her own portrait sealed inside it. You have everything. Wealth without limit, a name that will echo for centuries. And that, precisely, is the danger, because a man who has clawed his way to everything, from nothing, against the greatest empire on earth, has now made that empire his eternal enemy. And he has, at last, something to lose. But gold, you are learning, does not warm a cold bed, and a knighthood does not buy you a single friend you can trust. Consider what you actually have, now that you have everything. You climbed out of the mud entirely alone, and alone is how you remain. The high lords of England take your money, drink your wine, sail under your command when there is plunder to be had. And still, behind their stiff white ruffs, they whisper that you are a low-born pirate playing dress-up in a dead monastery. You bought Buckland Abbey to prove you belonged. You carved your own invented coat of arms into its oak walls because you had no ancestors to give you one. And every lord who visits knows it. You are a man who had to manufacture his own bloodline. The crest on your wall is a beautiful lie, and everyone can see the seams. You have no son, no daughter, 2 marriages, and not one child to carry the name you bled the whole world to make eternal. Your first wife, Mary, faded away from fever in a lonely house in Plymouth, while you were on the far side of the planet, chasing silver. You did not hold her hand. You did not even know for months. Now you have wed Elizabeth Sydenham, a wealthy heiress, 20 years younger, from one of the finest families in England, the very nobility that once shut its doors to you. She brings you status, but you are old enough to be her father, and you both know what this marriage truly is: a transaction, a purchase. Even your bride is, in part, a thing you bought. Here is a scene only you will ever see. It is late. You sit alone at the head of your great table, the gilded silver plates laid out, the French musicians playing softly, the whale oil lamps throwing gold light across an empty hall. Every cup is full, every chair but yours is empty. And in the music, in the candle smoke, a face rises that never fully leaves you. Thomas Doughty, your friend, the man you held, whose wine you shared on the morning you gave the order on that cold and distant beach. You feast surrounded by treasure beyond a king's dreams, and you dine with a ghost.
And far across the sea, your true enemy waits, and the King of Spain has put a price on your head worth a fortune in itself. The Spanish are so terrified of you that they no longer believe you are merely a man. They are certain you are a sorcerer, that you carry a magic mirror that reveals the location of every Spanish ship on every ocean, that you have struck a bargain with the devil himself. You have become a legend so large that you can never again simply be a person. You can only be El Draque, the dragon. And a dragon has no peace. A dragon has only the next fire to set, the next horde to defend, the next hunter creeping toward its lair. So here is the cruel arithmetic of your life. You taught yourself, as a starving boy in a rotting hull, that you must never need anyone, that to ask for help is to be betrayed, the way Spain betrayed you in that burning harbor. That lesson built your entire empire of gold. And that same lesson is the trap. Because the man who has trained his whole life to need no one will not know how to be saved when the end finally comes for him. And it is coming, not on a glorious field beneath a hail of cannon. It is coming quietly,
in the dark, in your own body, and all your gold will not be able to stop it.
The end does not find you on a deck of gold. It does not come with trumpets of triumph or a Spanish fleet in flames. It comes for you in the dark, in the warm and rotting air of the Caribbean, on a voyage that has already failed. You are 56 years old. The dragon is old now, and the fire has dimmed. You have sailed west one last time, chasing the gold of your youth, hoping to repeat the miracle of the silver train, and Spain has been waiting. They know your tricks now. Your attacks are beaten back, your treasure ships come up empty, and worse, a sickness moves through your fleet, a wasting illness of the body that no amount of silver can cure. Your own cousin and lifelong companion, John Hawkins, the man who first took you to sea, has already slipped away on this same cursed voyage. Now it takes you too. You burn with fever in your cabin. Your iron strength drains out of you, hour by hour. And in your final delirium, you do something that breaks the heart of every man who watches. You call for your armor. You demand to be dressed for battle, as if you might face the end standing, sword in hand, the way the legend of El Draque deserves. Your servants weep as they buckle the steel onto a body too weak to bear it. And then, quietly, in the gray hour before dawn, your light goes out.
Imagine you are one of the sailors who survived him. You watch them seal your captain, the richest commoner in England, the man who circled the world, inside a coffin of heavy lead. There is no marble tomb in a great cathedral. There is only the sea. To the slow beat of muffled drums, the roar of cannon firing in salute, they lower the lead coffin into the warm blue water off the coast of Panama. And the man who took 30 tons of silver from these very waters sinks down into them forever, swallowed by the same ocean that made him a god. Treasure hunters still search for that coffin today. They have never found it. And now, watch what becomes of everything you bled the world to build. Your gold scatters like smoke. You leave no son, no daughter, no heir of your own blood. The bloodline you tried so hard to invent simply ends. Your young widow, Elizabeth, mourns you for a time, and then she marries another man and carries your fortune into a different family's name. Your great palace, Buckland Abbey, the monastery you filled with carved oak and your manufactured coat of arms, passes from hand to hand to hand across the centuries until it belongs to strangers who never knew you. The jewel the queen hung around your neck sits today behind museum glass, a beautiful object in a case, its gold as bright as ever. The man it adorned long turned to nothing.
But the name? Ah, the name does not sink. The name becomes immortal. For centuries, England will sing of Sir Francis Drake as the hero who singed the King of Spain's beard and helped break the Great Armada. The farmer's boy who beat the most powerful empire on earth. And in the same centuries, others will remember the darker gold. The slave voyages, the plundered ships, the friend who shared his final cup of wine on a cold beach. You wanted to be eternal. You got your wish, but eternity does not let you choose how you are remembered. So let me leave you with the question that matters. You were born with nothing. Straw for a bed, an empty stomach, no name worth speaking. And you died richer than your queen, sunk in gold, dressed in armor at the bottom of the sea. So, tell me, was it worth it? Would you trade an ordinary, peaceful life for one blazing voyage as the dragon, even knowing how it ends? Tell me.
below.